What the June 7th, and New York City air quality has been significantly absolutely affected by the Canadian wildfire. Like, if you look up at the sky, you can't see shit. You can't see the sun. You can't see clouds. You see nothing but clouds. Like this shit. Like, it smells like something's burning. And they said that this is Canadian wildfire. And they said that the Canadian wildfire is sending a lot of smoke down here. And it's really, really bad. It's really, really bad. Like, you can't see the sky at all. You can't see it. This reminds me of when I was in China. When I first landed in China, you get off the plane, you smell a lot of sulfur because they were still burning coal. But yeah, it's really, really bad. So, this is kind of like a vlog just to, say that this happened, I suppose. These goddamn speeding cameras. Yeah, but this is bad. Really bad. I've never seen the air quality. How you doing, Tesla? I've never seen the air quality like this before. Never seen it. So I'm on my way right here to the train. But I just felt like adding this to my vlog. It is June 7th. As you can see, we got people walking outside with masks because the Canadian wildfire has basically sent smoke down towards us here in New York City. So the sky is bathed in orange, and it's very hard to breathe out here. It's a lot of smoke, and everybody, as you can see, everybody's got their windows closed. You're doing the cabin filter recycling. Because the air quality is like horrible right now. And it's funny, you can see everybody's got their masks on. But I find that really interesting because those masks from COVID, they don't stop shit. Like, the mere fact that you can even breathe through the mask, that's particulates are getting through the mask, which basically means that it was never going to stop no damn virus, and it was never going to stop air from getting in and out. So now people are understanding because they're trying to use those masks and they still can't breathe. So now they're understanding. It's like, wait a minute. If these goddamn masks can't stop the dust and smoke from getting in, then how could they possibly stop viruses? And the answer is they couldn't. So now people are learning that. A lot of people are learning a lot of lessons today. In fact, I would say that some of them are learning about the Coriolis effect for the first time. Like, they're like, wait a minute. If there's smoke in Canada, how come we're smelling it here? Isn't Canada far away? It's like, yeah, well, we have this thing called, the Coriolis effect. And we have, this other thing called the rotation of the Earth. So, yeah, people are learning a lot of lessons right now. They're like, wait a minute. If there's smoke and fire in Canada, how come we're smelling it here? And it's like, well, there's this thing called the Coriolis effect. You see, when the Earth is spinning, it causes winds to basically move with it. And some of those winds move faster than others. Some move slower than others. We got these things called the jet streams, the doldrums. Most of these people don't know none of that shit because they didn't pay attention when they were in school. So they're learning now. They're learning now. It was really bright orange a little while ago. Now it looks like this is all just smoke. It's just like white smoke right here, but it was like bright orange a little while ago. Like, I guess that also has to do with the sun's refraction of light through through the smoke, because the sun itself, when I saw the sun this morning, the sun was bright orange, and when I saw it yesterday, I was actually able to see straight up to the sun. So the particulate matter was actually a lot lower in count, but this morning it was the sun behind smoke, and that's all you saw. In fact, I don't see the sun at all right now. I don't see it anywhere. Yeah. So, it's nasty out here, boy. It's nasty out here. Everybody, look at this lady. Look at this lady. Oh, she's on the phone, but she's got her windows up, so. Yeah, so it's nasty out here, boy. Traffic is backed up for miles. Like, really, traffic, I looked at the maps. Traffic is backed up for at least 15 miles. It's ridiculous. It's insane. And, like, I'm looking at the map. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's ridiculous. But, this is new. But you know the interesting thing about it, and I think it speaks to global warming and stuff, it's like they can try to stop you from using cars, they can try to stop you from using stoves, they can try to stop you from using because first of all, my governor has come after our stoves. Now, originally they backed off a little bit because the Republicans raised an uproar, but the reality is the stoves is only the beginning. If they come after your stove, there's nothing to stop the government from turning right around and coming after your water boiler that's gas. There's nothing to stop them from coming after your dryer. Like, you may try to make the argument, oh, but my dryer and my water boiler are vented well to space. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, well, you're putting out too much carbon dioxide, so no, we can't have that. So it's just one big cycle of bullshit and lies and everything, and that's just how they play it. And, you know, one thing I appreciate about science fiction allows you to see dystopian future, dystopian governments in fiction, right? But the crazy thing about it is all that dystopian shit actually comes true eventually. And you literally have a government that it almost feels like they're taking playbooks right out of those novels, right out of those movies, you know? But don't be surprised. First it's your gas stove, then it's your water boiler, and then it's your dryer, your clothes dryer. And all because they lost the war to Russia and their egos are too unable to handle the fact that they lost. So now, because I had heard about this a long time ago, how America was trying to go completely energy independent. Because, see, the problem is some people thought that when Trump was talking about energy independence, they thought that it meant that America will be making its own oil, making its own gas. No. Energy independence. Uh-oh, the Trump finger came out. Look at that. Energy independence, in their idea, is that they make electricity and that they have full control over everything you use, and that they can monitor everything you use because you're using electricity. So they can tax and monitor and tax. And, you know, you don't have to believe what I'm saying because I can't prove a word of it because I'm driving in traffic right now. But the thing about it is it's 100% true. I don't need to prove it. It's coming. So all you got to do is just be prepared for it because it's coming. They're going to take your car, your gas car. Oh, I'll never give up my gas car. Yes, you will. Eventually, they'll make it so you can't even get parts for it. Eventually, the parts in your car will be fucked up. Eventually, what they'll do is they'll strike at your inspection sticker. You see how we have these inspection stickers and we got the registration? They'll make it so that it'll either cost so much to register or inspect your gas car, you won't be able to afford it, or what they'll do is they'll refuse to give you an inspection sticker for your gas car. At which point, if you try to drive your gas car without an inspection sticker, the cops are coming for that ass. And when they come and they like put your hands on your head and you don't put your hands on your head, well, you end up on police activity as the next person gets shot up. It's just that simple. I've watched enough sci-fi to know exactly that there's like a flow chart to this. And they know it, I know it. You know, it's like a flow chart. And that's exactly, because this right here, these inspection stickers, these registrations, that right there tells them that they have full control over you. Because, oh yeah, I'll never give them my gas car. Yeah, you will. You'll have no choice. If they force you onto electric, you have no choice. And eventually it'll be your inspection stickers will get the police involved, and then you'll absolutely have no choice. Because that's what that is. That inspection sticker and that registration is them reminding me that you don't have a right to drive a car. You have a privilege to drive a car, but you don't have a right to drive a car. And eventually they'll come for you. It's obvious. You know that saying, they were like, oh yeah, first they came for the Catholics and I didn't speak up, and then they came for the Jews and I didn't speak up, and then they came for me and there was nobody left to speak. Yeah, it's basically that. That's what it is. First they came for the water boiler, then they came for the stove, then they came for the dryer, and by the time they finished coming, it was like I had to go to Sears and I had to get all electric appliances. You know, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, this sucks. I hate this freaking traffic. I'm tired of it. And it's horrible today. I swear to God, it's backed up for 15 miles. I looked at the maps. Before I even get into traffic, I always look at the maps. It's backed up for 15 miles. But I tell you, when I have my electric Cadillac that the New World Order says that I'm going to have, when I have my electric Cadillac, all I got to do is just push like one button and the car just drives itself. That's what I want. It's like, shit, if they're going to take my gas car from me, I might as well have a car that can drive itself. See, right now, this car has adaptive cruise control. So while I'm sitting in traffic, it can just control its distance from the next guy. But now I want my car to drive itself in traffic. So this way I could just sit here and chill while the car's driving itself in traffic. This sucks. This sucks. This guy's going to try to cut in front of me. But he's not going to because I'm bigger. He's a dumbass. Yeah. So, yeah. It's like you can almost read these people. This guy's got a hell of a lot of lights on his Jeep, but they're all busted. It's like, come on, dude. It's like, that looks tacky. It's like, why do you need all them lights? You got all them Christmas lights and shit on your car, and half of them don't work. Got the Optimus Prime logo and all this. It's like, what are you doing? Look at this guy. This guy's from South Carolina. In God we trust, huh? It almost looks like part of his license plate's covered up. I hope that's a legit license plate, because these cops got to come after you. They're going to get that butt. What the hell is this guy doing? Anyway, whatever. This is so annoying. Damn, this is so annoying. Yeah. It is what it is, but yeah, this is the air quality. It's terrible. I was coughing all morning. It's like some of these people are driving around with their windows open. It's like, I wouldn't, because it's like, you remember how we had 9/11? And they told them people, oh, don't worry, you'll be fine. And then next thing you know, everybody came down with like non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, came down with like several different types of cancers and shit. It's like, you don't want to be breathing in this shit. You don't know what's in the Canadian fire, because I think they got like maple trees or something up there. For all you know, this fire could smell like maple or something. You wouldn't even know. You got maple going in your lungs. Come on, let's go, buddy. Oh, Jesus Christ. Man, this sucks. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I gotta brave this nonsense for the next 30 minutes. It's just insane. This is ridiculous. People got their mask on in their car. Like, what the, it's like we're right back to COVID again. It's like, why do you have your mask on in the car? Roll up your windows, turn on your air conditioner. Your mask ain't helping you. It's like I don't know, look at this guy. He's got his mask. Everybody got their mask. All of a sudden, masks. It was so crazy because, I was thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, COVID's over. And then, because of this smoke, all of a sudden, everybody got their mask back on. So bizarre. So bizarre. Yeah, but it's not helping. Everybody got their mask back on. So bizarre. Alright, I guess that's it for now. Just keep on trucking, I suppose. So you see this development right here. I guess that's the proper term to use. You see that right there? So basically, the key to understanding the reason why New York real estate is messed up is ultimately very simple. All you need to understand is that there's a lot of foreign money and foreign influence that is pretty much pumping our real estate market up to the point where regular people would never be able to afford it. I want you to take a look at this sign right here. Honor Group. We buy real estate, cash, demolition, foundation, new building and extension, internal renovation. Welcome to Do Estimates. So basically, long story short, you've got a lot of money that's coming in from China, India, even Russia, other parts of Eastern Europe. And that money is so overwhelming that they can literally come right to your property and they can just simply buy it up. And it's not just those countries. There's actually more countries. But the thing about it is buying real estate here in New York is just, it's ridiculous. So what it comes down to, and you probably heard of like BlackRock and you've heard of some real estate corporations. But what it is that the money that these people are throwing at our real estate is insurmountable. There's nothing you can do. Now, this property right here, I don't know how much you'd guess this property goes for, but this property right here, because this is in Queens, this property right here is over $700,000. Now, as you can see, they got like one window on the side, 2 windows up front. And even at its best, the best that property will look like is a property just like this right here. That's pretty much, it's like a twin. You know, they're almost like twins right there. So that right there retails for over $800,000 here in Queens. One driveway, the yard, look at the yard. The yard looks terrible. These people, they need to get like a guy to come and do their lawn for them. It almost, I mean, the garden looks like they're growing cauliflower right there. But that's it. So this is all you're buying. This is $800,000. Look at that. So that house right there, the best that house could possibly be is that house right there. So, you know, minus a couple of different window features, minus a couple of different facade features. And all the rest of the houses are pretty much the same exact way. $800,000 or higher. Just because it's in Queens. Like, that's crazy. But that's what you're looking at. So my thing is, Queens, New York, Brooklyn, Manhattan, they're just going to squeeze people out of here. They're going to send them to other states. And when they go to other states, they're going to take their voting policies with them. They're going to vote liberal. And then eventually they're going to turn those red states into welfare states too. You have to understand, and I know it's counterintuitive, New York doesn't want you here. What they want to do is they want to squeeze you out, and they want to basically expand their politics outwards. Same thing happened with California. You had a lot of Californians leave California. You had a lot of New Yorkers leave New York. And that's just what it is. They don't care if you can't afford to be here. And squeezing you out and forcing you to go to other states, that's actually part of the strategy. And I know most people would never be able to understand or believe that, but that's the strategy. So they'll send you down to Texas, Virginia, Atlanta, whatever it is. And all you'll do is you'll take your New York habits and New York voting strategies, you'll take those elsewhere. And then this way, they can basically change the Electoral College without ever having to have a constitutional convention, because ultimately they'll flood other states with liberal voters. And this is the reason why America is slowly going down the tube. This thing's still sitting here. So they got a yellow Huracan STO, and then they got this white Aventador that's still here since last week. I don't see the Urus. The dealer might have taken that one out. Then they got it. They still have that NSX. I guess that's not moving. I'm not surprised that the Urus moved, because it's like more people are really looking for SUVs anyway, especially if you're spending that kind of money. Yeah, most of this shit ain't moving. Yeah, I stopped by security. They got a Durango Hellcat. Supposedly Jonathan put a sticker on here. He said 15 over. So yeah, market adjustment, 15,121. Yes. Yep, I see they're not changing their ways. I see these dealerships are still doing their thing. Still doing their thing. Now they just got a bunch of Scat Packs. There's like no Hellcats left. It's just a bunch of freaking Scat Packs and Trans Ams. Well, I do know that they've been selling these Jeep Grand Cherokees pretty well, because I see a lot of those on the road. I see a lot of 4xEs being sold. That's like it. Yep. They better enjoy selling this stuff while they can, because other than that, the market's dead. This is all they've got in the backyard. So they've got, like, I guess this is Plum Crazy. Got Plum Crazy Hellcat. They got a Ram TRX in yellow. They don't have many cool used cars. It's like everything's fucking minivans, basically. I don't even see that many Dodge Hornets. They only had like one of in orange. So yeah, good luck selling that. Is this a red eye? Let's see. Oh shit, yep, that's a red eye. that's nice. It's nice. I don't think I've seen it in this color. It's a nice color. This is a Durango SRT regular. Fucking $10,000 market adjustment. So they want $94,000 for this thing. Yeah, these guys are unscrupulous, man. This gigantic ass Ram TRX. Look how big this fucking thing is. He cut off of one street and he got right back onto the main street. This guy. That Ram truck right there, that thing weighs 7,000 pounds. And it doesn't have like a license plate for a truck. And that's going to be one of the big issues with these electric vehicles, because these things weigh so much that now you're dealing with cars that weigh as much as these trucks do. You know, God knows what that's going to do to the roads. So they're going to end up having to tax the shit out of these cars. Everything. They're going to tax everybody just so that they can afford to keep repairing the roads. Because now you got a big ass truck. That truck weighs like more than like everything else around it. You know? With the exception of like the commercial trucks, the real big trucks. You're going to have to worry about being able to park in garages. The parking garages can't handle the mass. Hey, what's that? What's that? Oh, the guy had a Range Rover. I thought that was something else. Where are you going, Ram truck? Alright, well, I guess I've seen enough of him today. Alright, so very quickly, making a very, very short video, just a little stock update. I was watching the FOMC earlier today, and I was watching Jerome Powell. He basically delivered his spiel about the economy, and they claimed that what they were going to do was they were going to pause the next rate hike. They were going to wait, and they were going to see what happens with the economy until later on, and then possibly they'll do another rate hike. Now, there was some economists, I follow Peter Schiff, I don't know if you follow Peter Schiff. He was saying that he was expecting that the Fed was going to pause rates too. Now, one thing you got to understand about rate hikes is the rate hikes don't just affect the government itself, it affects the people, obviously, because now when you hike rates, you make things more expensive. For one thing right now, I've mentioned this numerous times. Every time I go past car dealerships, the same cars are sitting there. Most of these dealerships can't move these cars. In fact, I got a call earlier today from Mercedes. One of the Mercedes I had videoed when I went there. It was Helms Brothers Mercedes. But anyway, I got this call because they want to see if I'm still interested in coming back to look at the EQS or the EQS SUV. These are electric SUVs, right? And the thing about it is I'm still following after the Cadillac Lyriq. And I know a lot of people keep asking, oh, when are you getting your Lyriq? When are you getting your Lyriq? Well, the early, cheaper models are getting built, but the more expensive models aren't being built just yet. And my model is fully loaded. And what it is like I have a Super Cruise, I got moonroof, I got 22-inch rims. And I also, because of the Super Cruise, I think they're saving building till the end of the current build run. And the reason why is because the Super Cruise, they don't have enough components. Since we've been, messing with China and messing with Russia, it's like a lot of the components that we normally have for these vehicles, a lot of those components we just don't have. And what they're trying to do is they're building a lot of these cars not fully loaded. So Tesla, for example, they've been building their new Model Ys and new Model 3s, and they don't have ultrasonic sensors in them. And Tesla says, oh, yeah, don't worry about it. The cameras will be able to cover for everything. And I'm like, that's stupid. And now you're starting to see there's more car accidents with these Teslas because if those cameras have any issue whatsoever, like, for instance, if there's glare from the sun or whatever, those cameras aren't as good at judging distance. Radar is better at judging distance than a camera can be. But that's another story. So, again, the car is still being built, and as soon as it's finished, I'll have it. I'm very disappointed, though, because the longer it takes for me to get mine, it's like the longer it takes for me to get mine. I was expecting to have this damn thing back in February, but again, you could never count on the fact that Russia and China were going to start some shit, or America was going to start some shit with Russia and China. But it is what it is, and it's coming. So, I'll have what I have when I have it. So there's nothing I can do about that. All that said, these vehicles are very, very difficult to sell right now because these interest rates are so high. Leases cost more now than like ever before, or at least in recent memory. We haven't had to deal with purchasing things in an interest rate environment where you're talking about between 5 and 7% interest. It's like, even if you have excellent credit and you go to BMW or Mercedes, you're still looking at like 7% interest unless they themselves have an extremely low interest lease from their own bank that's internal. So they're able to make deals that normally you wouldn't be able to make with regular banks, like credit unions. The credit unions are offering you maybe, if you're lucky, a 5.25%. And that's not that great when you're talking about these vehicles that have been inflated in price, and you're talking about, $70,000 to $100,000. 5.25%, you're still looking at like damn near $1,200 a month. So, it's very difficult to sell things right now. Cars are one thing. That's one of the second most expensive investments that most Americans make in their life. The first is obviously houses. Right now, because of these interest rates, the housing industry has a big problem. So there's a shortage of supply and there's a glut of demand. So there's very high demand, very short supply. And the problem now is that the inflation on these home prices is sky high. Anybody who locked in a low interest rate, 3% or lower, such as myself and a lot of people in my family, they will never sell their properties simply because it makes no sense to sell. If they have a 3%, which is one of the lowest interest rates you could ever get on a 30-year fixed, then that house is now beating the price of inflation, for one, because, if regular interest rates are in the 7s and you've got a house in the 3s, you can't lose. You can't lose. It makes no sense to ever sell. It's like, even if you had financial problems, it makes more sense to just rent the house out to somebody who wants to rent a house. It doesn't make any sense to sell. So there's a lot of people who are locked into holding on to their property. But these newcomers, they can't afford to buy anything because the properties are so expensive. Rent here, especially New York, rent is sky high. You're talking about $3,000, $4,000 a month for an apartment. That's insane. Even the cheapest apartments you can buy, you're talking $1,000, maybe even $1,200 a month, especially if there's more than one person. It's It's very, very, very high here. I've been seeing reports about New York and California losing residents. But what people don't seem to understand is New York and California, they don't care if they lose residents because these people are just going to go to other states and they're going to keep their voting record. And when they go to these other states, they're going to vote liberal and they're going to flip those states' electoral colleges to blue. So this is a plan. When I talk about replacement, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, see, white Americans who have been talking about this, they call it replacement theory. I call it replacement fact. Bringing in these illegal aliens to replace the hardworking Americans that they're pushing out of the state with these high taxes, these high costs of living. Basically, unless you believed in it like I did, you wouldn't understand what was going on. And you'd say, no, this doesn't make sense. Why are you letting Americans suffer and bringing in more illegals? But see, if you didn't understand that their end goal is to fuck you over, the problem is you're thinking about it as if they care about you. They don't. They're replacing you. And that's just the reality. And if they would ever tell the truth, which they won't, they'll say, well, if you're not fucking and you're not having children, we don't really need you. I mean, after all, you're not productive. Furthermore, we can get more work out of these illegal aliens we can get out of you. And furthermore, if you don't like it, you can just leave and you can go to Texas. You can help flip their electoral state to blue. This way, if Trump does run again, there'll be no way he can win because all the states will be blue. But they'll never tell you the truth. They'll never tell you the truth. So it is what it is. So anyway, to the story, it says, I'm just going to read part of this because this is common news at this point. U.S. stock futures were roughly flat after the Federal Reserve skipped a rate hike at this meeting that ended Wednesday, but signaled 2 more rate hikes may still be in store later this year. Dow Jones Industrial Average Futures rose by 2 points, or 0.01%. S&P 500 NASDAQ 100 futures climbed 0.07 and 0.11, respectively. Earlier Wednesday, that broad market index and the NASDAQ composite both reached their highest level since April 2022. The S&P 500 closed the session 0.08% higher. The index notched its 5th consecutive positive position, its longest winning streak since November 2021. The NASDAQ rose 0.39%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.68%. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said during a post-meeting press conference that the Federal Open Market Committee, that's the FOMC, would use the 6 weeks until the next meeting to take into account the cumulative tightening of monetary policy. He added that a decision on July's policy move has not been made. The Fed shocked markets today, not by raising rates because they kept them constant as expected, but because they indicated much more hawkishness than expected in their language and in their forward economic projections, said Chris Zaccarelli, Chief Investment Officer for Independent Advisor Alliance. He added that the initial market shock was quickly shaken off, with the major averages cutting earlier losses before the end of Powell's press conference. All right, now, I'm not going to continue to bother to read this, but what I will say, it says shares of home building company Lennar rose 2.3% after the bell Thursday. Following its quarterly earnings announcement, Lennar posted an earnings and revenue beat in tits. It really says that. It says in tits. Fiscal second quarter. The company also raised its full-year guidance for deliveries. AutoZone also saw its shares rise more than 1% after its board of directors authorized an additional $2 billion to its ongoing stock repurchase program. All right, so what's ultimately happening here? What is this, Cava, fast casual restaurant chain Cava? I haven't really heard of them, but it looks like they're doing an IPO. I'm not comfortable with that until I do more research in it, but that's something that we could look out for. So, but the bottom line is right now, it doesn't pay to build single-family homes. Right now, and one of the things I've noticed here in New York, I've noticed a lot of these commercial multi-family dwellings that they've been building. And a lot of them are really nice. The only downside is, number one, would you be able to afford to move into them? And second of all, who are they going to put in there with you? Because as you've probably heard in our news, a lot of the illegal aliens that they're bringing in, they're desperately searching for places to put these people at the expense of the taxpayer. They'll put these people anywhere. I believe it was last week, they said that they were putting these people into churches. They said that they can also put them into public schools because, as you know, it's the government. They can do whatever they want for the most part with these public buildings. And when it comes to these multifamily dwellings, this craziest thing to me is that parts of New York City, like Jamaica Avenue, it's really starting to look just like it did in Judge Dredd. You remember how Judge Dredd had those mega cities and mega blocks and all that, where you've got thousands of people piled up on top of each other? You remember Peach Trees, the building, where you got these gigantic buildings in places you've never had gigantic buildings, and they're just stuffing these people into these buildings? Some of the buildings, they try to make them nice. They got pools, and they've got like gyms and athletic centers right in the building and everything. My thing is, you are being sandwiched in there with people who, there's so many people in your building, you couldn't possibly know everybody. The criminals who are in that building, you have no idea who they are. You just know that they're there. And my thing is, I am just thankful that I have a house. I'm thankful I have distance and space between me and the next person. I'm thankful that I have houses where if I don't like being in one place, I can probably go to the other. I just have to kick out those renters and have them come somewhere else. But the bottom line is, I wouldn't want to live in one of these mega cities or one of these mega city blocks. I don't want to live like that. Like after I saw Dread 3D, it's like, no, the answer is no, I don't want to live like that. So, here in New York City, we have our own special problems, basically. And, I'm not happy with what I see going on, and I already know that it's a race to the bottom. The next generation will have no choice but to just handle it and deal with it. And I really don't understand how they're going to handle it and deal with it, because most of them are undisciplined. They can't hold a job. They can't work a job that pays them enough money to live. Because the thing about it is, you have to be able to get a job that pays you enough money to actually live. And when I say actually live, I'll just say it like this. There are some city jobs now that are trying to raise the starting pay because they don't want anybody striking. And the problem is, if you have city workers who can't afford to live here, that's not a good thing. So they have no choice but to pay more. They have no choice but to increase the contracts. And the thing about it is, even if you're taking home $6,000 a month, even if they raise your pay to $73,000 or $74,000, even if you're taking home $6,000 a month, right, before taxes is going to take more than $2,000 away. So that means that if you're getting paid biweekly, and that's how the city pretty much pays, they pay biweekly. That means that at each paycheck, you're only getting about $2,000 or less. You might get less than $2,000 when you factor in Medicare, Medicaid taxes, or union fees, or whatever it is. So if you're getting less than $2,000 a month, or I'm sorry, less than $2,000 biweekly, so you're getting less than $4,000 a month after taxes, your living expenses are already eating up between 50 and 60% of that. So that means that you got to make do with $1,500, or you have to make do with up to $2,000. So chances are you're either going to be living with parents, or you're going to have to shack up with somebody else. You're going to have roommates, because the reality is people aren't getting married like they used to. So it's not like you're going to just get, room up with a woman and marry her or something like that. What's going to end up happening, according to statistics, a lot of women are going to be single and childless by 2030. The majority, they're saying. By 2040, it'll be even worse. And, granted, you can't see that far ahead, but the thing about it is the prevailing trend right now is in that direction, and the statistics are saying it. So my thing is, it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. I think a lot of people are going to end up fleeing New York State. Same thing goes for California. I was having a conversation with my cousin the other day. We were talking about Denver, talking about Arizona. I have another cousin who lives in Arizona, and he fucking hates it at this point. He grew up here in New York, moved to Arizona, and now he fucking hates it. And at the same time that he's talking about coming back, my cousin who's here in New York wanted to move out there to be with his brother to move to Arizona. And I'm like, yeah, your brother doesn't even want to be there anymore because he hates living out there. There's nothing there. And it's hot and shit. So it's like you're trying to move to a place he's trying to flee. And a lot of people are doing exactly that. Like, I live in New York City. Everybody's trying to come here, but there's so many people here every day depressed. I hate New York. I want to get out of here. I don't like New York because they can't afford shit. They can't afford an apartment. They can't afford a house. They're living with their parents or they have to shack up with somebody. They don't like living like that. And they say, oh, yeah, well, if I go down to Atlanta, all I have to have is like $300,000. I can buy a mansion and all this bullshit. And the reality is we've already screwed up Atlanta because most of the people that flee from New York go down to Atlanta. So we've already screwed up Atlanta. We're screwing up Texas right now. So a lot of New Yorkers are leaving New York. And if they can't make it in Georgia or if they can't make it in Atlanta, they're going out west. They're going to Texas. Some of them going to Denver, Colorado. Some of them going to even Arizona. And then you've got California screwing up everybody else's housing market. Nobody gave a damn about Washington State back in the 90s. Nobody. Nobody talked about Washington State. Nobody gave a damn about Oregon. Nobody cared about any of those places. Once that subprime crisis hit, California, these people started moving up to Oregon. They started moving up to Washington. They started moving out to Arizona. They started moving to Vegas. And what a lot of people didn't understand is that these people from coming from California, they had so much money, they were able to blow your housing markets out of the water. Furthermore, these are digital nomads. These people work Silicon Valley. When you're talking about people, these people were the original work from home. They were the original digital nomads. So these Silicon Valley people, when they moved all over those areas out west, they were blowing your real estate markets out of the water. So now you go to Washington, try finding a house less than $300,000. Those houses used to be shacks back in the 90s. And I had friends who lived in Washington, like parts of Washington State. Now you can't, man, going there is like being here. And I went out to Denver. I made a video about going out to Denver, Colorado. There was like nothing there except marijuana junkies and homeless people. Like, that's all I really saw. Like, all of the businesses pretty much looked exactly like they look here. They were all corporate. It was like it was the same businesses over and over. It was like Home Depot, Applebee's, like that. It was like all these stupid franchises that suck. So, you saw a lot of people spending all their money on marijuana. I guess they were getting a high to take the edge off. And a lot of those people were homeless. It was like I was walking around. I was seeing homeless people, young people. I was shocked. But if I had gone to California, I would have seen even worse. I got tent cities. You got people with tents in front of the drugstores, people with tents, literally taking shit in front of your business. And the Democrats think that they're doing a good job. It's like, man, we need to sweep these people out of office, man. These people suck. But they want more of this because they're literally trying to flood states with people who are fleeing other states because the price of living is so high. And yet when they go to these other states, all they're going to do is vote the same way and drive up the cost of living. What kind of sense does that make? It's called insanity. Okay, so very, very, very quickly. As you can see, the Dow Jones for the day ended at 33,979 points. You can see gold is still 1948. Where I disagree with Peter Schiff about rushing into gold is that I really do believe that most people, they're not really focused on preserving their wealth like he says. I think most people want to go into stocks instead because they're trying to make more money from their money instead of preserving the value of their money. And that's just where I disagree with him. Microsoft, as you can see, $2.5 trillion market cap. Microsoft is in the green, 337. Now, I told y'all a long time ago, I made a video about it and everything. Now, this was way back when the values were lower. I called it man goat. Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Google, oil stocks, Amazon, and Tesla. The majority of this market is being pushed up and held afloat by a handful of trillion-dollar companies. Microsoft, 2.5 trillion. Apple, 2.9 trillion. Basically, Apple was the first $3 trillion company. And no matter what y'all say, no matter how much y'all make fun of Apple Vision Pro that you probably can't afford, and that's why you hate it. Because, we live in a society now where people are like, oh, well, if I can't afford something, then they shouldn't be able to afford it either. Yeah, well, guess what? Apple don't give a fuck. Apple putting out, if they're going to put out a $3,500 headset, I guarantee you day one it's going to sell out. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Apple got a credit card. I got that Apple card. That card got, $12,000 limit at a 15% interest. Apple got themselves a savings bank now with Goldman Sachs. They got a savings bank and they got a credit card. Trust me, there's people out there who'll flex that credit card $3,500. There are people who buy that shit cash, but I'm just saying, it's not impossible. If they have a finance plan, somebody will flex that credit card, they'll buy that $3,500 headset, and they'll pay it off piece by piece. And by the way, when that headset comes out, chances are we'll be around, tax season. Somebody's going to take their tax return and they're going to flex that headset. So no, don't you worry. Apple could have said $4,000, people still would have bought it. And it is what it is. The mere fact that Apple can release these MacBooks and these MacBook computers, the average cost on one of those things is like $2,000 or $3,000. The mere fact that they can release these Pro Macs, these big ass Mac Pro computers, and these things can go up to $60,000, $70,000. You think they're gonna have a problem selling a virtual reality headset or augmented reality headset? No, nah, they'll be fine. I ain't worried about them. So. NVIDIA had a surge this week. Like before, they were right under $1 trillion. Now they're absolutely over $1 trillion. They had a nice surge. Now, there were a lot of people short NVIDIA, and these people shorted that NVIDIA, and these people put themselves out of like $5 billion. Good for you, short stocks. Shorts, stupid. So anyway, Google is still doing well. Amazon is still doing well. They've pretty much recaptured their losses because if you remember, they dipped below $100. I hope that people who saw Google and Amazon dip under $100 after the Russia-Ukraine war and after they did the stop split, I hope that under $100, I hope you got in. I really do. I had been telling people to buy the split, but whether you bought the split or not, if you had bought the split, you would have had 20 shares right now because when they did that split, that was a perfect opportunity to get a decent number of shares. But if you didn't buy the split, then, it is what it is. But still, when it was under $100, that was a perfect time to buy shares in either one of those companies. Both of those companies are worth $1 trillion. So as you can see, Amazon, Google, all these companies are $1 trillion. Tesla right now is $813 billion. Now, if you remember, it was old, and I kept saying this. I kept saying Tesla has some of the wildest swings I've ever seen simply because there's so much options trading in Tesla. As you can see, $813 billion market cap, and they are well on their way to being $1 trillion company. So Tesla, you can bet on, is going to be a next $1 trillion company. It is what it is. They're selling so many of these goddamn cars, these Tesla Ys and these Tesla 3s. The Model Y right now, they've got a lot of incentives on that car to the point where you can get one of those cheaper than you could get like a regular gas car. Because some of these regular gas cars are about $40,000. They're selling these Tesla Model Ys where you could get them like in the 30s. And, they're not the long-range versions. They're not the performance versions. But if you're a broke-ass millennial and you need a car, you got a car. You got to plug it in somewhere. You got to plug it into your mommy's house because you're probably living in her basement or something. But the bottom line is you got yourself a Tesla. So, hey, it is what it is. Amazon, $205 billion market cap. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm not looking at Amazon. I'm looking at AMD. AMD... Mark my words, within the next 10 years, AMD is going to $1 trillion. Now, if you hadn't bought... Now, I was telling you about AMD and Logitech. I was telling you I'll buy it at $50. If you had listened to me, you would have doubled your money by now. more than doubled your money because $50, I mean, they're up to 127. Yep. What can I say? Intel is up and coming again. I mean, Intel had a little bit of a fall because of the Russia-Ukraine issue. That Russia-Ukraine issue needs to be resolved. It's like, I'm tired of it at this point. I knew Russia was never going to allow Ukraine to win. But the thing about it is, at this point, they need to hurry up and resolve it because at this point, it's fucking up my vacation prices. They need to hurry up and resolve it, okay? So once they resolve that, I mean, even if they still continue to ostracize Russia from the global market, the simple fact is they need to end that. We need China to hurry up and end their COVID restrictions and all that nonsense. Nobody believes in COVID no more. It's over. So my thing is they need to hurry this up and they need to get back into the market. We need to make that money. TSM, Taiwan Semiconductors, as you can see, over the last 3 months, that's where they are. Now, I was telling you, I was saying bet on chips. That's what I was talking about in NVIDIA. And naturally, I was talking about it. I had no idea it was just going to blow up like it did. And it just blew up. These chips, if you're going to build these electric cars, these chips, the chip market is the biggest thing that you could possibly be betting on. And I'm not even thinking about the AI intelligence. I'm talking about just the chips that you need for all of these electronics. It's like, I was saying it for the longest. It's like, do you understand that these chips, I mean, these damn things are in everything. It's like if you buy a charging cable for your iPhone and the shit has a fucking chip in it. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's madness. Micron, I was telling you about Micron, and I was telling you the government's pushing Micron to be America's chip manufacturer. And right now, it's not at its 10-year high. But the thing about it is, if you put that money in there, Micron now, you look back in about a year or two, oh yeah, you're going to be happy. Right now, they're still building a facility for Micron up in Troy, New York. So they're trying to focus on domestic chip manufacturing because America wants to make sure that they have dominance in the chip market. They don't want to allow Taiwan to continue to have the majority of the dominance. Taiwan will dominate the chip market for Asia, but USA wants to dominate the market for Canada and for America and for Mexico, so that this way we have full control just in case China ever does take Taiwan. So that much is obvious. You could ask Nancy Pelosi, who was insider trading right in your face, and y'all didn't do anything about it, but y'all trying to indict Trump, right? Yeah. Nancy Pelosi should be thrown in the same jail cell. Hillary should be thrown in the same jail cell. I mean, here you've got somebody so stupid who, when they get caught with illegal documents on cell phones, they think that all they got to do is smash the cell phones and that's it. It's like y'all don't understand that all of this information passed through a bunch of servers. It's like you guys are messed up, man. You guys are messed up. But anyway, oil stocks and gas stocks. Now, here's the thing about oil and gas. As you can see, these stocks are mostly down from their highs that they were about a year ago when the Russia-Ukraine thing first started. Because a year ago, gas was like $5 and $6 right now, right? The thing that you got to understand is that these green energy fuckers, these people are trying to push the gas companies to cut production. I was listening to the news and they were talking about that. And my thing is, the energy companies that we currently see, like Sunoco, BP, Shell, and Exxon, Chevron, Occidental, energy is going to be a big thing for a while, but obviously they're trying to force us off of gas and they're trying to force us off of oil. They're coming after your stoves. If they came after your stoves, then that means they're going to turn right back around. They're going to come for your water boilers. If they come for that, they're going to come right back around. They're going to come for your gas dryers. It may not be in that order. It might be stoves, dryers, boilers. I don't know what order it's going to be, but I guarantee you that if they can make up this bullshit and come after your gas stoves, oh, because we have to protect the children have asthma. Excuse me, the children have asthma because the children are overweight, because the children are eating honey buns and fucking Red Bull for breakfast. That's why the children have asthma. That's why the children are high school girls who have bodies worse than 30-year-old women and they can barely make it up and down the steps. No, your asthma has been induced by the fact that you're eating a 700-calorie breakfast. Yeah. Well, but we have to protect the children from the asthma. Yeah, So if they make up that bullshit and they can come after your stove, trust me, they're going to do the same thing for your water boiler and they're going to do the same thing for your gas dryer. Oh, but why are you coming after my dryer and my boiler? We have ventilation to outside. Oh, well, it's because you're pumping CO2 into the atmosphere. I pump CO2 into the atmosphere every time I breathe out. Oh yeah, but we have to protect the children from asthma. This right now is, I believe, the very definition of tyrannical government. But that's a story for another day. So as far as oh shit. Well, I guess that'll be where I get ready to close my analysis for tonight. Bitcoin. We going to the moon. We going to Pluto. We going to be Bitcoin $100,000 by summer 2020. Bitcoin $1 million by summer 2022. Well, I don't think that these numbers support those theories. I'm looking at this Bitcoin. Litecoin was 90. Oh, my. Oh, XRP's going to the moon. Look at it. We got some huge movements in XRP. We going to the moon. We going to Jupiter. What the heck? Whoa. What? I got people who posted comments. They're like, yeah, well, why don't you keep that same energy when Bitcoin does go to 100,000? I hope you keep that same energy. I got people saying that shit to me in my comment section. Like, I was looking for my Bitcoin detractors. I was looking for them because I got lonely. It's like me, I'm so lonely. I have no friends. Where's my Bitcoin detractors? I have no friends. I'm so lonely. Somebody put that bullshit into my DM. And I'm like, wake me when Bitcoin gets back to 68,000, please. Wake me then. Wow, this doesn't look good at all. I had people running up to me. Oh, yeah, look at me. I bought a whole Ethereum. Yeah, too bad they did it at like $3,600 and $4,000. Yeah, I got me a whole Ethereum. I got a whole Ethereum. Huh? What's that? Whoa, it looks like your whole Ethereum is down to $1,600. What happened? Got people running out. Oh, man, Jack, I hope you bought XRP. We going to the moon. Okay. It doesn't look like we're on the moon just yet, Rocket Man. It doesn't look like we're on the moon just yet. What happened? Elon Musk. Dogecoin, we going to $1. We going to $1. What happened? What happened? Elon Musk come on Saturday Night Live. We're gonna be using Dogecoin on Mars, and you're gonna be driving around in a Tesla, and we're gonna have boring companies on Mars. We're gonna be drilling holes, and you're gonna be driving Teslas on Mars and spinning Dogecoin. Well, it kind of doesn't look like it. Nah, maybe, no, I don't think so, no. No, it doesn't look like that, nah. Nah, it doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it from these numbers. Oh, man. Oh, well, why don't you keep that same energy when these things go to the moon? I want to see you eat pie when these things go to the moon. You're going to have pie all over your face. Where are my Bitcoin detractors? I'm starting to miss them. I'm really starting to miss them. Because I'm looking at these numbers. What happened? Huh? What happened? This is summer 2023. Summer 2023. What happened? Like, I thought we was on the moon. I thought we was going to Jupiter. I thought we was going to Mars. What happened? What happened? I don't know. I don't know what happened. All I do know is that a whole lot of people are missing a whole lot of money. Because I specifically remember telling people, no, you should buy oil stocks and pay dividends. I remember telling people, no, you should put your money in certain levels of big tech. I remember telling people you should buy like Logitech, AMD, but these people told me they were going to the moon. What happened? Huh? What happened? Where's the moon at? I don't see I'm looking around. I don't see them. But like if I look out my window, I think I might be able to see the moon. But I thought I was going to be on it. What happened? Yeah, well, you get my point. So that's basically it for this June 14th. And we're moving towards the summer. Passport bros are winning. And we're just moving towards the summer. Passport bros up, Bitcoin owners down.